Hey everyone, welcome to our very special E3 coverage of 2016 from the Over Beer channel. My name is Rich.
I'm Nick. This episode is brought to you by Dorito Fingers.
You want to get a napkin?
Cheesiest of fingers.
You need to get a napkin or something before we start?
Right.
You want to watch it? Okay.
Right.
Okay. So this is part of our E3 reaction series that we're going to have up. This is the Sony press conference. We just got out of the Sony press conference.
Literally.
Yeah.
When you say get out, you mean from the Shrine Auditorium in
Yes,
Los
we were
Angeles?
there and we flew all the way back here.
Uh-huh.
And within minutes. But no, we
Not
were
quite, but we did do something cool.
Yeah.
We did. What did we do?
So Sony for the last couple years has been doing making their E3 experience like a theatrical thing where you can come anywhere in the country and you can attend it, and it's like a via satellite deal. Right. So this is, I think, the third year I've done it. This is the first you've done it, right?
First year I've gone, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was cool.
Like the experience?
It was fun. It worked really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you had some horror stories from last year, the feed not working.
Yeah, it went out last year just as they were re-revealing Last Guardian.
We had no issues. No technical issues at all.
No, I was surprised.
You know who else really had almost no technical issues in my opinion?
Who?
Sony.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Cool. Do you want to start from the beginning or?
Let's start from the very beginning.
Because I got my notepad here of all my E3
Let's start
stuff.
from the actual beginning of the show. Not Bear McCreary, who I knew who he was.
Yeah.
I knew
you were like, I think that's him. And I'm like,
I think that's Bear McCreary. Not that. That was cool. You know, we're like, what score are they doing? Is this something I should know? It turns out it wasn't. It was, I don't think we should have known that.
No.
But let's start from the actual beginning.
Okay.
We record this show in Orlando.
Yeah, that's true.
And we were in a theater of fellow Orlando.
Well, it's not the beginning.
It was. He came out.
He came out after the.
He came out after God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the importance.
Okay.
Let's get that part out of the way.
Yeah, I agree.
And
that's been one of the really cool things about this E3 is every press conference, I think with the exception of EA, has come out and said, right off the bat, first off, our heart. No, I don't think Bethesda did it. I think they just had the ribbons.
I don't think, they had the ribbons. It was so fresh. I don't think they knew what to do.
And then Microsoft, I think, was the first one that came out and said...
in a way, I watched the EA conference on the IGN stream, and, they opened it, their coverage of it with a screen showing how to donate and stuff like that.
Oh, did they? Okay, I missed that.
So, it kind of started in a way.
Gotcha.
For me. But anyway, so... the Sony, and a lot of them, like you said, but the Sony one, being in a room filled with, a couple hundred of our fellow Orlando folks, having him, say that the Sony community is with the Orlando community, it was pretty cool being in there and being part of that and, everybody cheering. And the whole thing has been really, obviously sad for the area, sad for the world, but the response from people
has been just incredible.
Being at the blood drive at UCF today, the outpour was amazing. But it was really cool seeing that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about video games.
Okay. See, now we got the serious part out of the way. So the first thing they show, it looks like a trailer at first.
Yeah.
Which a lot of these tend to do now. Is it starts off, it's like, oh, look how we've blended the cinematics and the gameplay. And it's this little kid. We're all kind of looking at each other going, what?
Yeah, because, he kind of... you could have seen that being part of, the way that he looked being part of, Horizon.
Yeah.
But you're like, that's not a little girl, though.
That's
a little boy.
Maybe it's her brother, or maybe something.
It's a little kid. It looked all, old, Horizon's, caveman time, almost. But it looked like something like that, and he goes into... It looked great.
Yeah.
Visuals were awesome. He goes into this house, cabin... and out of the shadows
steps in old Kratos.
So it was God of War, as it's called.
That's interesting. I'm surprised it's not subtitled something. It's just God of War.
It's a new beginning.
Yeah.
They said that
it looks really good.
He said that right at the end.
He said something like
Kratos said of the new beginning.
Something of that sort. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks very different than previous God of War games. It looks not quite as fast-paced and
Yeah, and that looks,
like
early game.
hack
Like,
and
that might be
slash
the beginning
as
of the game.
sure.
But I was really into. They continued on with maybe, I don't know, 8 minutes of gameplay or something like that, and like him going through the woods with the sun and going after the deer, and then you encounter a few, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
That was all really cool. That fight with them, and then that bigger thing comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That fight scene with him, I wasn't as impressed with that. Some of it was kind of like, it looked like nothing was happening when he was hitting it and stuff. It's clearly still early. There was no date at the end of this.
We probably won't see this
till... That was kind of a common theme with a lot of this. Which sometimes is, it's better to not say anything than to promise us 2017 and have to really relate to 2018.
10 years from now, we'll be finally getting God of War.
Right, exactly. But it looked pretty far along. Mm-hmm. It looked good. I don't know. I mean, this is.
I like that there's
this kind of. We knew that this was going
to. Yeah, this was rumored right now for a while.
Setting and been known and all of that.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that there seems to be some exploration, some more maybe upgradable stuff in it, because like you see them and it's like, oh, you've discovered this area, and it was like plus 25 and
plus 25 for archery, plus 25 for tracking.
Whatever it is. So that could be an interesting change to it.
I think to me it looked open world like Last of Us is open world.
Yeah.
Like not really.
Like a Last of Us or a Tomb Raider or something.
Tomb Raider too. Like it also just the hunting of the deer reminded me of both of those games.
Yeah, like it's got openness to it.
Yeah.
But there's still a linear story being told.
Yeah, which is how I prefer games.
Okay.
I've definitely come to realize if it's too on rails, that seems like 1996 to me. And if it's too open world and there's too much to do, I just don't have time for those games. And so that's the kind of my perfect it looked interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't really played much of the God of War franchise. It looked cool. Mm-hmm. I can see this as a good jumping on point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts on that one?
No, I think we pretty much summed it up. So next up was Sony Bend finally revealed their game. No longer called Dead Don't Ride as it was rumored. Days Gone is the new title for it.
It's called Dead Don't Ride. That's such a better title. On the ride over here, actually, when the conference ended with some gameplay of that, and I guess we can fold all.
Yeah, we can talk about it all at once.
But as he was saying it, that it was going to be Sony Bend's game, I was like, what the hell was the new title? I'd already forgotten. And on the ride
seems
home,
more
I was thinking
generic
about what we're going to talk about again, and I was like, what the hell is the title? It's not. It doesn't stick with you. Dead Don't Ride, that sticks with you.
Yeah,
that's a really
Days
cool
Gone
title.
seems very kind of just plain. It's very ordinary.
And the cinematic trailer they showed, it just felt like they're trying to do Last of Us. That's all.
Yeah, I got
some
vibes of that.
Last of Us vibes.
I mean, it looked cool. The gameplay demo at the end, I wasn't super hot on, which I imagine, there was no release date, no nothing in this game, so I imagine you were still a ways out.
Yeah, actually, I really liked, we've gotten a million zombie things in the past decade, too many zombie things, but I'm not sick of it yet.
Okay.
And I'm, zombie bikers, I mean, that's, whatever, Daryl. But I thought the cinematic trailer, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, the gameplay, it was cool, but the zombies are kind of like World War Z, in droves, zombies.
It looked
which was kind of cool, but maybe just because it's a demo or whatever, but it also felt like, all right, so again, the game visually and aesthetically looks like Last of Us, but something about that game was you had to scrap for ammo. You had to forge together things, and this guy had endless ammo. It just never,
which that may have been
ended.
part of just the demo
demo. But if it's not part of the demo, I don't know how you would ever survive in that situation.
Sure.
So I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, there's plenty more of this game, I think, to see.
Again, it's early, but like when he's up on the roof and they were really coming at him, there was a point where like they got to him and like nothing was going on, which again is a demo thing, but like
it could have been they just turned certain things off or done different things
or maybe they didn't, and there's not real much of a threat. It's like a Kirby. It's like yarn Kirby.
Or like if you put Dead Rising and put it into Last of Us, where there's just tons of zombies and you as long as you can manage, you're okay.
But it looks like it could have, a compelling story. There was a lot of emotion there where this like biker dude just wants his hot blonde back, but she's gone, and it's Sons of Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mean it looks. I'm interested to see more.
Yeah, but there had been some speculation that we might see this game as early as this year, and that's clearly not the case. There was not even a 2017 attached to this game. There was nothing.
We have 1, 2, 3. I guess technically 4 if you count Lego Star Wars, and 5 if you count COD. 5 dates out of all these games. I guess technically we have one for Horizon, but that was an announcement. That was
actually, and they didn't say it.
No, that's true. They didn't actually say it.
Which was really weird because Horizon got a release date like a week ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't put it on, which is kind of like, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, you'd think they would.
Like that was
maybe it'll get pushed again. But before we got to Horizon, they showed Last Guardian.
Yeah. It's not for me.
I'm going to play it. It looks cool. If October 25th is the release date, they finally revealed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's just not for me, and it never was going to be for me. But I don't think that anything they've shown of that game deserves like last year when it showed up and people didn't think they were ever going to see it, that the reaction made sense.
Yeah.
This year when people are still going nuts, I just feel like the game's going to disappoint people.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, I don't think the game could ever live up to the hype that has been put on this game for the last 10 years. Same thing with Final Fantasy, same thing with No Man's, like, any of that stuff.
Same things with that Guns N' Roses album. Like, anything that takes that long is going to take them. But I don't know. I mean, visually, that trailer that they showed opened up and it was visually like, wow. And then, they have the score and you have the live orchestra and it looked great. But then, like, you start seeing, like, the kid's face and it's like, that looks bad.
Like, it's cel-shaded, but it looks like PS3 cel-shaded.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
But I'm gonna play it.
People are getting it.
I'm gonna get it.
And plus, that is the worst time for that. Like any chance of me possibly getting it, out the window. Like because there's so much in October.
Yeah.
Late October and November, like it is out of control.
Yeah.
No chance.
But now Sony has that's one of its fall games.
It's gonna get destroyed by Gears, and Skyrim will destroy that game. Yeah,
maybe.
We hear that reaction, but it is very, very specialized.
Oh,
There's but the expectations, because in our community, what that title means, like it means nothing to the general gamer.
They'll go, oh, it's a game. No one will see that and go, oh, that's the
cat monster.
That's the game I've been waiting 10 years for. No. Half people playing games won't even.
They don't know about
remember
it.
that.
They won't know about it.
They may not even been born when it was announced.
No, maybe.
So after that was Horizon.
Yeah.
A much more in-depth gameplay of Horizon. I think it looks great.
Yeah. No, it looked really cool. I was a little bit down on it early on in that demo.
Okay.
And then as soon as she got on that
the
creature, wild boar or whatever they called it, and goes in and fights that thing, like that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the spin wheel and the way that the game slows down as you're choosing that is Mass Effect 1 all over it, and I'm all about that. It looked really cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that game.
That's definitely.
I don't regret pre-ordering the collector's edition at all.
No.
After seeing that.
After that, we had Detroit.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like we got the CG trailer last year, I think, at E3. Was it last year E3 that we saw that?
I think so.
And it was, I can't remember the actress's name, but it was like the girl from The Following and stuff. It was like the focus of it, and it was all.
Oh yeah.
And it was all about
Marilena
AI and
That's right. Yeah.
versus all that stuff. And
She
this
wasn't in
looked
this at all.
no, this looked really different. So I don't know if that was just because I remember I think she was a part of like a tech demo they did that was involved in part of Detroit. But yeah, like this had nothing to do with that, and I didn't really get too many of the vibes of AI melding with the human population. Like a little bit, you see it when the woman's like, "Oh, they sent another AI. Why didn't they send a human?" But for the most part, it looks like it's more about you sort of being able to change the outcome and have your own story, and which is interesting.
No, yeah, I mean it's a cool idea. I would love to know what reality of the future Detroit's going to be able to afford robotic, like android cops that are not crummy looking like RoboCop.
But it looks interesting. I'm curious to know more as time goes on. No release date. I don't even get no year for that either.
I feel like that was just a cool like concept cinematic trailer. Like it didn't really offer any. It didn't look far along at all.
No.
I mean, this is where we're at in 2016. If you want to know how impressive a cinematic trailer for a game that is nowhere close to being done can look, we'll talk about it later with Kojima.
Yeah.
So,
But after that, we got a big one. Big drop.
Did we?
Yeah, so they start talking about VR.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And it jumps in, and it's like Before Kitchen, which was kind of the big horror game, like the horror VR tech demo or whatever that's kind of been talked about. And it's just first person of this guy going around this like decrepit old house.
Yeah, it looked like,
really
the end of season 1 of True Detective.
Yeah,
that's the vibes I got from that house.
This is very very spooky,
like
very
animals
creepy.
They showed later and stuff. I was like, True Detective.
And then you see it kind of pull out and it goes to the CG trailer and then it hits Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to play it. It's January 24th is when it's coming out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fully VR compatible.
Yep.
Which is cool.
And then it also, at the end of their trailer for it said play the demo on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know what that means right now. I don't know.
As soon as we're done recording this, I'm going to go check.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can check right now on my phone.
That's true.
While we're
jumping in.
I mean, are you so clearly Resident Evil is back to horror?
Yes, it looks but back to the survival horror. And it's not another mansion. It looks like if it is all in this one place, we don't know that for sure.
No, yeah, we don't know.
But it looks really cool. I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I was thinking as I was watching it, like, because I'm still not sold on VR.
Sure.
Before we knew that it was Resident Evil, there was a point where I was like, yeah, I'll never play that. Just because, like, I was just like, I'm not interested in, like, spooky ghosts in VR. But then when it was, what it is, Resident Evil, I was like, oh, well.
Well, it's cool that we're starting to see like the big games get the VR support that it's gonna need, instead of like, oh, here's all these tech demos. Like we've got that. So they announced. I don't think we had an actual date for PSVR yet, but October 13th was officially announced. I think it was just October still until today.
Yeah, all of it. There's nothing on PlayStation Store for.
So we saw. I think it's as far point. I don't know. I can't read my handwriting. We had some game. This guy looked like he was on Mars or something.
Oh yeah, that looks stupid.
Star Wars X-Wing mission for Battlefront looks cool.
Of course.
Batman.
I want to know what they're going to charge for something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be an X-Wing mission on rails. Maybe even.
Batman Arkham out in October.
I don't know what the hell that means. Exclusively on PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
They did say that.
It was just kind of a CG.
I don't think that was... to me, it didn't quite sound like Mark Hamill as the Joker. It sounded more like in Origins when Troy Baker was the Joker. It didn't... I mean, I might be wrong. It didn't quite sound... It sounded like it did in Origins. Close, really close, but not right. It said, wear the cowl. So you're literally... part of the great thing about the Arkham games is it felt like for the first time ever you were Batman.
And now you're
literally Batman.
You're going to be Batman.
I don't know what that means.
I'm interested. I'm excited.
It could be interesting. It could be... We'll see. I mean, that could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Then we got the Final Fantasy 15 VR. Well, first we got like a trailer for it, and then we got like the VR demo for it.
Yeah.
I don't care. the more and more I see that game, the more I'm just kind of
No, yeah, oh, good, because we haven't, you know, maybe when people have watched this, we'll have already talked about it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went from like being like the lead up to that reveal, being like Final Fantasy 15. I'm getting back in that franchise. Back in that franchise. And we had the big reveal, and I was kind of like, yay, I'm going to be there. But I'm not going to pre-order it yet. And then, you know, I played the demo that came out, and I was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then you can see our thoughts on the Microsoft part of it.
Right.
You know, our Microsoft video that we'll have up.
But
I was very meh on that, and seeing this, I'm just kind of like...
It doesn't excite me anymore. The only thing that I'm not opposed to some of what the cosplay might come out of that. But other than that, yeah.
Next up, we had Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I'm surprised we didn't have more of a... There wasn't really, other than...
Well, because, all right, so like, last year was... What was last year's game? Black Ops 3?
Yes.
And they had an exclusive, like, 1 month window, which they have something like that again. But I think they just made a bigger deal of it. And maybe it didn't really translate that well.
We didn't really have any developer, hardly anybody come out on stage. Like a lot of the press conferences.
No, this was all about PlayStation.
It was just like...
It was almost all...
Trailer, Kojima, trailer. Yeah,
they...
Sean Layton. I mean...
You know, they didn't waste any time really at all with anything that was not a PlayStation exclusive. And that's kind of what made this feel so good. So, yes, there was an extended VR...
Yeah, that was the weird part.
They were like, we're going to show you... He came out and he's like, we're going to show you a handful of experiences in VR, but he never said when that was ending.
And it just... there was a first-person thing, which I wasn't sure... I didn't know what it was at first.
Felt like, when it was in the ship and stuff?
Yeah.
And then he goes out in the ship and he's fighting, and literally anyone who's ever been on Carousel of Progress, like you were playing the game that the grandmother plays in the future part of that, it's like, wow, Carousel of Progress is right. Good job, Walt.
It looked cool.
Yeah, it was when they went into space I realized what it was. I was like, this must be cool.
I really haven't looked at any of the gameplay stuff for this.
Before the conference, they were showing trailers, and that was the first time I had watched the Call of Duty trailer. It looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks like a cool.
This is the most I've ever been interested in the Call of Duty game in a long, long time.
Nah, yeah, I'm totally down for this. I feel like it's been a while, you know, because I didn't like the Halo 5 campaign. It's been a while since there was a space, you know, shooter that I was actually interested in. This looks like it could deliver. There was something about the end of the trailer. Then they had the Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it was like thing. And you get
just like. You know, as I was watching that, you know, I was like remembering back to playing through that first campaign, and like it is great, like it was great for sure. But the reaction to some of the people in the room were just like, I mean, it was like they were showing the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah, I don't care enough. And then we got a bit of news, kind of a 2-part good and bad news. Yeah. So Sean Layton comes out, the background turns into like a sandy beach, and you hear the Crash music start to play. And the shadow of Sean Layton as he walks out is like Crash Bandicoot's shadow. And so we're all sitting there thinking, this is it. He's going to announce a new Crash game, and he says...
I wasn't convinced.
Well, I'm like, this is either there's something's coming, or this is like a huge fucking tease. Like, oh yeah, here's the shirt, but except this time it's on the backdrop, and we're just not gonna mention it. And then, but no, so we're getting remastered, rebuilt from the ground up, Crash 1, 2, and 3, which I'm excited about. I'm curious to see what that does. Like, they're partnering with Activision. They don't have the rights back.
I feel like that was that is nowhere remotely close at all, if it will even happen. But they knew they couldn't come out there.
I'm sure.
And just be like, Crash Bandicoot is in Skylanders.
Yeah.
And that's it. They didn't want to get Metroid Federation Force, or whatever the hell that game's called, from last year. Nintendo's experience with that. That might not even be true. I'm honestly, that's how I feel about it.
Really? See, I believe it. I absolutely 100% believe that it's going to happen. They've been teasing this stuff for too long.
If anything, it might end up happening because Ratchet sold better than they ever would have imagined, but you won't see it for a year and a half.
Yeah, I bet I could see it being like 2018
If it's
or
truly
something.
from the ground up, it'll be a long
Maybe
time.
next year at E3 we get like actual footage or something.
Maybe.
Or
But
they've announced
just
it now and they save it for PSX.
And they knew that they had to come out there and say, "You're getting this from the ground up, but here's Skylanders."
Yeah.
Like, even the way that he said, he was like, "I know I'm about to disappoint you, so here's something that I'm just gonna put words out in the atmosphere." Like, it meant very, very little.
And then, of course, it was Crash and Skylanders, which
the new Skylanders, you can design your own.
Which I don't think anybody in our audience really gave a shit about.
There's one person who
I will buy, if they sell that Crash Skylander on its own, I will buy it just to have the figure. The same way I did with like the Jack Skellington Disney Infinity. Like
that'll exist, I'm sure.
I will buy it just to have it.
Although doesn't it kind of feel like if the point of that game is designing your own things, that maybe like those aren't going to be toy, like. Maybe they're kind of moving slightly away from that aspect of it and trying to make it more of a game that's like, right? Because if the whole, like the majority of that game look like it's characters that you design in game, they're not going to have toys of those.
Unless you design them and then you can buy a toy version of your Skylander.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been asking for Amiibo for.
They might do that, but that's, that'll be way more expensive and not many parents would do that.
Sure. So after that, we had Lego Star Wars.
Yeah,
saw some more of that.
Comes out in 2 weeks.
Looks great.
Sure.
Nothing.
Demo's available right now.
Yeah. I may actually go play that just to do it. And then we had Andrew House come out, say, "Oh, we're partnering with the top developers, blah 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 blah," and welcomes back to the stage Hideo Kojima, or not back, but welcomes Hideo Kojima, which is cool. I'm glad. I figured he would be here.
Yeah.
After all,
I wasn't sure. It made sense. But I felt like if they literally had nothing to show, that maybe they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think EA could have learned from that.
That's the weird thing with this.
That they had stuff.
That they had something to show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how quickly can you do that nowadays? And it looked great.
Yeah. So Death Standing is the name of it.
That's what it was? I thought it was something else.
That's what I wrote down. I can double check.
I thought it was like Standing Death. I don't know. Maybe, Norman Reedus, So people got... I think that there was a large amount of people in the room who were like, wait, Silent Hill, is this still happening?
Well, that's what I wasn't sure at first, too. I was like, is this...
No, there was a guy in front of us who it looked like, he had just, like, seen a ghost banging his mother. Like, he looked so shocked. When it
Death Standing is what it's called.
Death Standing. That's another bad title. But
it's very Kojima.
Sure. I'm more excited that so quickly after the whole fiasco of everything that went down, that he's getting to do something and he's going to do it his way.
Yeah.
And that he has the support of Sony. But like, I didn't play Metal Gear. Like I have PT. I still haven't gone through it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be more excited for it than I am. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy for the guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw like his whole global tour or whatever they wanted to call it, where he was going around looking for engines and stuff, and just like how much better he looked and all that. So
yeah,
it's cool. I'm interested to see more. I bet we don't see this till 2018 probably. No, at least. At least. Yeah. Because he just got the engine.
Yeah.
And then this isn't the last thing, but it kind of is, because the last thing was Days Gone demo, which we already talked about. So the last reveal, and this was really cool.
It was amazing.
Insomniac is doing...
Kind of rumored.
Yeah, kind of rumored.
Speculated.
Originally rumored for Sucker Punch to be doing it, which we didn't hear anything from Sucker Punch, I was a little surprised. But no, so Insomniac is developing the Spider-Man game for Sony, and it looks fucking great.
It looks awesome. That part when he's running through that, I don't know if it was the Bugle or if it was a restaurant or whatever it was, and dives through the window like this, looked incredible. I'm a little, I don't know. My initial reaction to that giant white spider was kind of like, what? Mm-hmm. But on his chest. But man, like that was an exciting moment.
Yeah.
As like a huge Spider-Man fan, I love the Spider-Man games for the original Xbox, and early on there. And this just like, this could be amazing.
And having seen kind of like I haven't played it yet, obviously, but having seen sort of what I have of Sunset Overdrive and the movement from ground to air and moving around the environment and all that kind of stuff. Like that, it makes sense. Like this actually makes sense.
Yeah. No, that brought the house down.
Yeah, that was great.
It really did. People were very excited. Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man theatrically. And so this could really be like a flagship. He should be a flagship character. And
yeah,
I mean, if ever there was a superhero, of all the superheroes, like the Arkham games are great, but like if ever there was a superhero that lends himself to video games, it is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it looked killer. Again, no idea.
Yeah,
that's kind of the disappointing thing.
I'm surprised there was as much there as there was. Considering
absolutely.
Insomniac, they just shipped Ratchet and
Yeah.
they're working on the thing for GameStop's publisher and God knows what else. But
but next year,
I could maybe see
when
it.
the hell is the movie?
It's next
Homecoming?
year.
It's next.
I could see it coming out. Maybe it's a fall 2017 game.
God damn. Yeah, that was as excited as I've gotten about anything at E3. Really, I mean, it was like that was the moment because it was the potential for what that could be in 2017. That's exciting as a Spider-Man fanboy. Yeah. So the conference as a whole, I was very impressed with.
Yeah, I think it's
some really cool stuff shown. Really, there was almost no negatives that I can think of. There was that one VR game that didn't look exciting.
The only negative I have for this, and this is kind of the problem that Sony's had, is that a lot of the games are so far off.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's what I was leading to too. My only issue, I saw, I think it was Tim Geddes tweeted out like that was the best conference of all time. The only reason that like I'm not inclined to be, because after every single thing I just felt like I felt like they didn't tell us anything.
Yeah, whereas, you look at, and you can go check out our Microsoft one for this too, is you look at Microsoft and it's like everything that they showed is within the next 6 months to a year, for the most part. And this, it was like, Days Gone, no release date. God of War, no release. Detroit, no release. The VRs, maybe October, who knows. Crash, no release. Kojima, Spider-Man, no release. I mean...
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think it's a good...
It all looks great. Like, the future is bright for PlayStation.
Yeah.
We should also mention, like they kind of said, but there was no mention at all of Neo. 4.5.
No mention of Vita.
No
R.I.P.
Nothing about the PSP.
No Vita 2 announced.
No.
Maybe next year.
No price drop on the console at all.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Because if they were to drop it, it's going down $50 in July, then when the Neo does come out, it would have to go down even further.
Yeah, they're probably waiting for that for when they make their Neo announcement.
It was a good conference.
Yeah,
it was really
overall good conference.
Game of the thing. Most exciting part for you?
Game of the one I'm most looking forward to that I've seen enough of is probably Horizon.
Yeah,
and then like far out thing is Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man, man, that was cool.
Yeah.
Still not sold on VR.
We'll see. I still have mine pre-ordered. I've been teetering on do I want to keep the pre-order, do I not? Just because I don't necessarily need to spend the money, but
all of these conferences had really exciting sounding games that exact month. Mm-hmm. I'm not dropping $400 in October on top of all these games.
That's absolutely fair. But that's going to wrap up our Sony press conference E3 thoughts. What did you guys think of the conference? What did you like? What didn't you like? Let us know in the comments below. Or you can tweet at both of us. You can tweet at me. I'm at Rich Belson.
I'm at Stonks.
The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. We're on Instagram, over_a_beer. And of course, YouTube, youtube.com/overabeer, where you can check out our other E3 reaction videos, which should probably all be up at this time. But that'll wrap things up for this review. So until next time, drink up.